What's up on my power ass crew today on the Jeep Cherokee XJ camper build teardown? Yeah, we'll just go with that, okay? I've already tried to do this line right here like a dozen times. Today on that camper build teardown, we're taking out the instrument cluster. So as you guys see in this shot right here, I've already taken out that bottom panel. I've taken out the trim bezel right through here. So I'm going to drop those videos in here because I'm tearing out the dash, all of that for the camper build. So I don't need to, so I'm not putting those back in just to make every other shot. So I'm going to recycle some of the video from taking this out in there. So here we go. Now for starters, you want to take this right here off. Phillips head screw right here, here, and here. So first of all, you want to take off this cover right here. You got a Phillips head screw right here, right here, right here, or you can use a nut driver as well, and it looks like to be about 3/16 or so. But I'm going to use a Phillips head on a screw gun, yeah. But I'm going to use that, but faster. So once you get the screws out, give it a little tug. Come on, there we go. What's holding is those little spring clips right there snap into these little slots right there. And here I am hitting the camera. Yeah. I got a bee inside that one, but he's dead. Alright, stay. So now we got this metal cover. Right over here is a Phillips head screw. If it were in, you'd have one right there too, but it fell out when I took the plastic cover off. Ta-da! Take that out of the way. Tried to pull this trim bezel out and I forgot to do something. Your headlight switch, actually the whole shaft comes out of the switch and you can't see it. And I'll show it to you when we get the switch out. But I'm feeding my hand up inside there. There is a little button on the side of the switch. You push that button in, right there, pull it out on the shaft. I can feel that button moving. I just gotta hit that sweet spot to where it turns it loose. Come on, ta-da! It's out. Now you can grab your whole trim bezel and take it out. There, that separates right here. Comes up around the column. Trim bezel's out. So once you get that bottom panel out of the way and the trim bezel out of the way, now we can get to the cluster. We got a 4-way screw right there, one right there, right there, and way down here. Phillips head screwdriver, get them out. Now if you're using a drill with a screwdriver bit in it like I am, you're going to have to raise the steering column. So you just simply push that lever, push the column up, that's your tilt wheel. Once you get those 4 screws out, what should happen is you're going to grab hold of the dash cluster, and you may have to put a little oomph to it because it just plugs in right there and right there. You see how the plugs right here taper? When you go to plug it back in to this right here, that taper aligns your pins to the plug up there and makes life a lot easier. But if you want to upgrade to LEDs, you will grab these right here. Probably want to get pliers getting there to do that because I can't get my fingers in there. Now as you look at the back of the cluster, you can see right there it says oil, speed, temperature, tack, volt, and fuel. That's what's really cool about the XJ clusters, that they're actually labeled as to what you're looking at versus the YJs, not so much. So if you notice, these type of light sockets here are more informational. Seat belts, lift gates, so on and so on. But if you look right there, it says ILM, illumination. So if you're going to upgrade your cluster here so they're nice and bright at night time with LEDs, or if you want colored LEDs or something like that, you want to upgrade the sockets that say ILM, illumination. So we got, you see the different ones here. I mean, these look different from those right there. So these are the ones you want to upgrade to make them all nice, bright, and pretty with your LEDs, or if you want to do custom colors like red, blue, or whatever the case may be. So to get these sockets out, let's just say, for instance, we're going to change out the this one right here first. This is the seat belt. Needle nose. Now you can use regular needle nose pliers, or I'm using the needle nose channel locks because, well, that's the fastest thing I grabbed hold of. If you're using these channel locks, don't lock down on them tight. You want just enough snug to hold on to it. And rotate counterclockwise easily now, because they're kind of hard to turn at first, and all of a sudden they'll go pop and they're loose. And right there's the bulb. So in case you have to replace those. So your illumination lights, again, pliers get in there, hold it just snug enough to turn it counterclockwise. Ta-da! Now as you see, it's got that little colored gel cap over top of it. That means you can have a blue illumination to your gauges. So if you just want to buy these new socks or something like that, reds or whatever, but honestly, I'd go LEDs. They're so much brighter. You can get all kinds of custom colors. But here's the little caveat to using LEDs. Regular incandescent bulbs here, these are not polarity sensitive. So no matter how you plug them into the socket, see that right here? I mean, it's just a wire on either side, so it doesn't matter how you plug it in there. You can go that way or flip it 180 degrees, plug it in that way. It will not matter on incandescent bulbs. LEDs, most LEDs are polarity sensitive, meaning there's only one right way to put them in. If you put them in 180 degrees out, and then you put your cluster back in place and you turn on your dash lights, you're like, wait, my dash light's working, I got a bad LED. No, more than likely you've got the bulb in backwards. What you'll have to do is pull your cluster back out, pull your socket back out, pull your LED, say, okay, this one's plugged in like that, yes. Then I turn it 180 degrees, boom, plug it back in, boom, you should be good. You'll pop it back in. I don't know if I can do this with my fingers or not. No, of course not. Could have given a little bit more room to do this with. And you can see right there the little hooks. Line them up and turn. Reinstalled. And then you take your cluster, put it kind of back in place. I'm going to switch hands here, people. My tripod won't get up here. If I use my big tripod, it's in my way. There we go. Then you push. Lock it in place, and you'll see your screw holes like right in here, down here, and even on the other side, they'll line up. Then you'll know at that point, put your screws in, tighten them up. But what you want to do at this point, if you've upgraded LEDs, you want to make sure they work before you put all this back together again. Pop it cluster in, turn your key on, turn on your lights, check everything, turn on your headlights and stuff, make sure it all works. Once you see that all your upgraded lights are working as they should, then put it back together. Otherwise, okay, say hypothetically, your tack light's not working, but your speedometer is. Odds are, if you've upgraded LEDs, and your tack light's not working, you pull it out, pull the cluster back out. Take your socket out, turn the bulb 180 degrees, pull it out like I showed you just a moment ago, plug it back in, put it back together, try it again, and it should work. LEDs are polarity sensitive. Then once you've confirmed all your bulbs work correctly, put it all back together again. Now just to summarize real quick, these are going to be for your informational. Left turn, right turn, headlight, lift gate, seat belt, whatever. That's what these style are for. The brown one here is for your illumination. That's going to be the backlighting for your gauges. Speedometer, tack, fuel, whatever. Those are going to be the illumination sockets. Needle nose pliers, rotate them counterclockwise to take them out. And remember, if you're upgraded to LEDs, they are polarity sensitive. Put them in, snap this thing right here back in place, test your lights. If they work, thumbs up, put it back together. If you've got one that doesn't work, pull the socket back out, pull your LED out, turn it 180 degrees, plug it back in, good to go. But always test it before you put all that mess back together again. Alright? Alright. Now, as I said in some of my past videos, all the parts I'm pulling out of this XJ, not for sale, simply because I don't know if they're any good. And I'd hate for someone to purchase one of these parts from me, or even if I sent it to you for free and you paid for shipping, I'd hate for you to receive one of these parts and then be bad, because I don't know anything about this Jeep as far as what works and what doesn't work. So I'm not going to take the risk of someone getting bad parts, so they're not for sale. So everyone, if you're enjoying this tear down of this XJ, getting ready to build a camper, give me that thumbs up. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos of that camper build once I start putting it all together. As far as comments, you can request, hey, take this item out. I say this item because I've already got the center of the dash out, I've got part of the bottom dash out, now we got the instrument cluster out, and so there's not much more inside here that I can really remove. Now as for the airbags, we may take them up on some property that I have access to, and we'll set them off and do something fun with them maybe. Something fun? Tell me in the comments. Of course, eventually pull the engine, transmission, transfer case out of it. I'm saving the transmission transfer case for another build later on down the road possibly. Hence the reason, here is the transmission control module. I did not cut the harness where this plugs in, because this is what controls the 4-speed automatic transmissions in these XJs. So if I want to put this in a, I don't know, a CJ for instance or something, if I want to put this drivetrain in that, I'll have the whole harness to where I can figure out how to put that in. But that brings up a good question. How am I going to figure that out? The reason I don't want to cut the engine harness is simply because I'm going to build an engine stand where I can run an engine on the engine stand. And by not cutting the engine harness, I can figure out how to make the wiring harness and the ECM and all that stuff a standalone system. And once I get to the point where I can figure all that out, of course there'll be videos on how to make a standalone harness out of an XJ harness or something. With a standalone engine harness, you can take this engine transmission and put it in anything you want to. You want to upgrade an old CJ with a fuel injection system, or the first generation YJs that came out with the carbureted system. If you want to pull all that out and put this drivetrain in it, some of you are going to be like, that ain't going to work. Well, yes and no. I'm going to say no first, simply because the transfer case and the XJs are clocked different. A YJ transfer case sits like this, the XJ sits about 15 degrees down. You got to reclock the transfer case. Other than that, I know for a fact you can put engine and transmission out of an XJ in a YJ, because that one has an XJ transmission and transfer case in it. So if these ideas sound like a fun thing for you to learn, be sure to subscribe. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Peace. Later, y'all.